psychologist in London stating the obvious. On the news the other night, in the midst of the London riots, there was a short clip. I was watching the National, a Canadian nightly newscast, and there was a short clip of a psychologist, I guess kind of prominent psychologist in London, speaking about the primary reason that the riots were occurring. And he was a very well-dressed gentleman, 60-ish, I don't know, standing in front of a beautiful building. I don't know if it was his home, if it was a home, it was certainly a mansion, or if it was a place of business or work. I'm not sure. Anyway, so he's standing in front of this, gorgeous building and beautifully manicured, and he's dressed very well and is speaking very well and is obviously highly educated. He's a psychologist, and he's saying, to me, he's stating the obvious. And he's stating, well, the reason this is occurring is because of a growing gap between the rich and the poor, and a new, larger and growing youth population, mostly with the violence and demonstrations of male population, who are increasingly angry at the lack of opportunity, at the lack of employment opportunity, education opportunity, at the lack of jobs. So there is not much for them to do. So they sit around with too much time in their hands. They've been looking for employment. They are unsuccessful month after month. Life is dismal. They don't seem to have lots of hopes and dreams, because it's difficult to do this when you don't have work, when you don't have enough money to satisfy your basic needs. So they have so much time on their hands, and that they can feed their minds and become angry, and one way to dislodge this horrible anxiety and feeling of anger, which does affect the physical body, is through acting out. Is through speaking out and through acting out. And this is what has occurred. Anyway, I said it differently than he did. But in the way that he said it, I don't think he purposely tried to sound like an arrogant, pompous ass, but that's the way it came across. And, the way it looked was, well, I even just turned to my husband. I said, well, easy for him to say, isn't it? Standing in front of his ivory tower there. Great. Hey, that took a genius to figure out. Why are we interviewing this man? Why isn't he talking about a solution? Why isn't he talking common sense? He explained the obvious. Makes no difference. Any idiot can figure that one out. Why are we interviewing him, and why are we listening to him? So, yeah, it fueled my frustration anyway. I am very grateful to be a member of an online group of people at Desteni, in which we're doing more than stating the obvious. And we are 100% dedicated to taking practical steps in order to be the solution and bring about a practical solution that will last, changes that will have a meaningful and direct and immediate effect on the world's populations. And we'll do this with an equal money system. So there was one other article I noticed. Again, it has nothing to do with the London riots, but it's just kind of the I have nothing against this woman personally anyway. It's the Duchess, a Duchess in Spain, and she is facing her children's objections to her marriage. She's marrying I believe she's 85 years old, and she's marrying a man that's 25 years younger. So she's facing her children's objections to her marriage by paying them off. I guess paying them their inheritance before she marries. Well, good for her. Hey, kudos to that. It's not a bad thing. Get married if you want. Good for you. Just a few things that were said in the article that, again, I just find kind of, it's a bit like a slap in the face to the poor of the world, who are individuals, people, just like you, just like me. In this article in the Globe and Mail in Toronto, the paper, Tuesday, August 9th. However, the Duchess' personal wealth is estimated at between 600 million and 3.5 billion. So no one really knows. Isn't that interesting? That we don't know how much wealth this woman has. 3.5 billion. And she's been able to give her children and 8 grandchildren a palace each, as well as a chunk of the many thousands of hectares of Spain she owes. So this one individual woman, Duchess, owns a lot of land privately. So that's interesting. Even the idea that she owns this land. Who is she? She's just one person, one human being on this earth. Why should she own anything? At Destiny, we look at the concept of ownership. It is a concept, just like our money system is an idea, a concept. As well, the title. In a world where there was an equal money system in place, we would do away with titles. No one needs the title, Sir and Duchess and Duke. It's not practical. It actually puts people on a pedestal, which is unnecessary. We know it's pretty obvious when we just stand here in the physical and look at one another that we're equal. We have different characteristics, perhaps. I'm a woman, you're a man. You might be physically a little stronger than me. But it's pretty obvious that as physical beings, we are equal and we have equal needs. I need to eat today just like you need to eat today. I need a place that's safe and warm tonight just like you do. So we wouldn't have titles. It's unnecessary. We wouldn't let people have ridiculous amounts of money, an individual. Why should she have billions of dollars in the bank? $1 or $2 that could go to practical medical care and food being provided for children who do not have these things today, who are living in complete poverty and dirt, and they're dying of starvation in agony today. And this woman, it's just okay. I'm not saying do away with her. I'm not saying I hate this woman. Nothing like that. But she should have what she needs, and no more. Until we all have more. If one day everybody can be a millionaire, great. Very well could be. One day at a time, one step at a time. And the idea of the ownership. Why should she own all this property? Ownership isn't necessary. We can all have a building that is safe and beautiful inside. And it's our shelter. We don't need a piece of paper saying we own it. It's not necessary. It's just the earth. Everyone deserves to be a billionaire. Not just this woman. Because she was born into it. I don't buy that anymore. And isn't it interesting that they don't know how much she's worth? So there would be none of that. No. No secrets, no lies, no using the mind. The mind, there is a secret mind that we all have. Thoughts, feelings, emotions, stories playing out in our mind. In a new equal world, we would not live inside the mind. We would live in the physical. So you can speak. It would be the living word. And at Destiny, which is a group of people online, we investigate the mind of thoughts, feelings, and emotions, and our understanding how human beings are completely controlled by their mind. All of our actions, all of our history, all of this turmoil, greed with money, all to do with the mind. And the mind is simply ideas and beliefs and concepts. And what we do is we bring ourselves back here to the physical, and we live in the physical. And we are dedicated to bringing an equal money system in so that we can have a starting point of equality where we are in fact one and equal as human beings on this earth. We can go from there. So please investigate equalmoney.org. Thank you.